In these short videos, I would like to share with you some tips in setting up a multiple choice questions MCQ online assessment using the SPeCTRUM. There are many advantages to adopt MCQs as an online assessment strategy in the era of COVID-19 pandemics. They are considerably easy to set up, and the attempts can be marked automatically by a computer. This is particularly an attractive approach when handling large classes. Personally, I found that the quiz activity in the SPeCTRUM is an useful tool for both formative and summative assessment. It allows users to create various types of questions, including randomized MCQ, by aligning the questions to the course learning outcomes and appropriate levels of cognitive skills. Setting up a new MCQ assessment in SPeCTRUM is generally a two-step process. The first step is to create the quiz activities and set rules or specifications of the assessment, such as the time limits, the number of attempts allowed, the layout, question behaviors, review options, and etc. The second step is adding the questions to the quiz activities. It can also be done the other way around, starting with building the question bank, creating the quiz activities, and add questions from the question bank. These questions can be reused in other quizzes. Let's move to SPeCTRUM. Before we can create quiz activity in a course, please make sure the edit options must be turned on. Navigate to the course content and add an activity or resources. From the toolbars, select quiz in the activity sections. Proceed to add. In generals, enter a name here, which is the labels of the links that allow students to access this quiz, and a clear description of instructions. Examples instruct students to select the best answers rather than the correct answers. In this case, it is acknowledged that the destructors may have an element of truth and discourage further arguments if the other answer is also correct. And the information of instructions can be displayed on the course page by checking these options. In timing, specify the periods when the quiz is accessible for attempt and the time limits. For instance, enable the opening dates is maybe I'll just put it 2 o'clock and ending at 3 o'clock. And the time limits is an hour. Before the opening time, the student only able to view the quiz introductions, such as the instructions that we written just now, the number of attempts allowed, accessible dates and times, but will not able to view the questions. After the closing date, the students no longer able to start a new attempt. It is a good idea to spare 1 or 2 minutes for both opening and closing time. So maybe we need to spare some time for it. Instead, put it sharp on 2 o'clock, 1:55, and instead of close sharp on 2 minutes. Okay. This is to fairly account the possible variations in the timings. However, it is not advisable to keep the online assessment accessible for extended periods, just in case the students that finish earliest might take the opportunities to record the questions and share, while the others have time to look up for answers before sitting for the assessment. Try to time the quiz with reference to the complexity of the questions. Try to fix the time such that it is just enough for those who understand the course materials to complete the online quiz. With fixed amount of times, students aren't as tempted to spend time looking for answers or recording the assessment content. The countdown timers will be displayed on screens and students no longer have access when the time is up. The attempt will be submitted automatically. In case of final exam, students are only allowed to have one attempt. So it is crucial to advise them to secure a good internet connections during the exam periods, as there are no exam resets. For other teachings and learning activities, perhaps students may allow for additional attempts. When multiple attempts is allowed, extra grading methods are available. Okay. Under the layouts, it makes sense to keep every question on a new page at a time, instead of posting all questions in a single page. By doing this, it is inconvenient for students to capture the questions and then distribute them. The default navigation method is free, meaning that students are allowed to skip and navigate to either questions, then come back later without follow its original sequence. This can be restricted to sequentials. To further reduce the risk of cheating, the possible answer in a MCQ can be randomly shuffled. This makes it harder for students to share and compare their answers. SPeCTRUM also allows students to interact with the questions in various ways by adjusting how questions behave. The default settings is deferred feedbacks, which is appropriate in most cases where students are required to submit the entire set of answers before they receive feedback. Whereas, under adaptive mode, students are provided with immediate feedback for each answer submitted and can be given hints for next try. This section controls the selected information that will be revealed to the students. It is advisable not to post the information, particularly in the final exam. The appearance settings allow users to show its appearance or pictures on the screen, which is only useful to check if a student is logged in by itself during physical face-to-face invigilations and adjust the decimal place to required precisions. It is also allowed to specify extra restrictions on attempts. For instance, only permit students with password to access the quiz, or restrictions or network restrictions that only allow access from certain locations. And you may well enforce delay between attempts so that students spend more time for revisions before the subsequent attempt. It also allows browser securities to mitigate cheating by either lockdown browsers or JavaScript security in full screen pop-up. However, it is strongly advised to conduct a trial runs or a mock assessment. The overall feedback is used to provide general feedback to individual students according to the grades. Examples, you may praise higher performance and instruct those who fail about the rules of retakes the assessment. Please ignore these sections in case of final exam, as grade is confidential before the official release of exam results. In common module settings, you can hide from students or show the content on course page. You can also adding access restrictions in the next section. Once you complete updating all configurations, click Save and return to the course. Now, the quiz is show up under the topics on the course page. Click on this quiz to view it. This is the quiz information, as I mentioned earlier. Click Edit Quiz, or over here you can click Edit Quiz buttons too. You can fix the maximum grades, for instance, 100% or 70. Okay, depends on the ratios. When the shuffle option is enabled, the sequence of questions will be randomized for each student attempt. This makes it harder for students to share the whole set of answers and discuss a particular question. From the drop-down menus, you may add questions from a number of locations. To create a brand new question, just click Add a new question and select Multiple Choice. Proceed to Add. This page is a form that allows you to create the multiple choice questions. A question basically composed of two parts: the questions or problems, and a set of possible answers that contain a key that is the best answers to the questions. Select the categories of question bank so that the questions created here will be saved under that particular categories for future usage. You may fill in the question name, recommended using the topics of the questions. For instance, this is questions related to topic 1. Inserts the question text. Questions. So you can do this by copy and paste from other sources. For instance, your Word documents. Adjust the weightage of the questions. The default setting is 1. You can also provide general feedbacks. For MCQ, when students have completed these questions, they will be displaying these feedbacks. Maybe some tips to help the students to understand the question. For MCQ, allows only one answer. If multiple answers allowed, extra care have to be given on the grade percent. So this is the options we activated previously. The bullets used to mark the possible answer can be alphabeticals, numericals, or even no numberings. To ease the setting and checkings, it is recommended to place the best answers in choice 1. With 100% grades. Then, try to complete the other choices with destructors. Destructor 1. Okay. The second destructors. And the fourth options. If necessary, you may have extra destructors or extra choices by clearing this blank for 3 more choices. Now you have up to 8 possible choices. Under the combined feedbacks, you may adjust the feedback upon student answers. Okay, you may adjust. If adaptive mode is adopted, okay, which allows multiple tries, here you can set up the penalties for each trials and provides the hint. At last, don't forget to save the change. Now you have your question displayed over here. Okay, this is the indications of multiple choice. If you want to further edit the questions, click on these icons and you may preview the questions over here by clicking preview question. So here is the previews. Okay, questions text followed by 4 options. If you still recall, we select no numbering. So which means the options or the choices are not labeled as A, B, C, D or 1, 3, 2, 3, 4. Okay. To create additional questions, just proceed to add. Okay. New questions. Over here also can add new questions. Okay, new questions. Then you can select your multiple choice. Add. Do as usual. Select the bank, question bank. Okay, so this is the topics. So question text, marks, feedbacks if you want. So how many questions? Usually it's 1. So, and this is just now, as I mentioned, the bullet types. Okay, maybe let's try ABC in this case. So this will be the best answers. Best answer. And the grade should be 100%. While the others, leave it blank. Okay. So second choice. B, third choice. C, and fourth choice. D, for the examples, and proceed to save. So we have these second questions over here. I would recommend that you try to arrange the questions here such that maybe question 1 to 20 are aligned to CLO1, question 21 to 40, CLO2, and so on. The suffer options over here, okay, would not affect their orders. Okay, and in this case, the marks in the marking tables will reflect according to the orders listed here. And this allows, okay, or it is the course learning outcome analysis at the end of the semester. Once you complete the MCQ assessment, you can preview the entire quiz. Okay, you can preview the entire quiz. So you can go to your home. And now you can preview this entire quiz. Okay, so just now we have set 2 attempts and an hours. So these are first questions, then student can navigate from question to questions. Okay, the question will be randomized. Thank you for your attention.